right, what's up, guys? I wasn't making videos before, but now I'm kind of back. I don't like for the 12 people who watch me and consistently. Um, this isn't really the type of video that you would expect, right? But I love football, and this season just ended, so I kind of want to do a tier list of all NFL quarterbacks going into this 2024 season. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna really dilly dally about it too long. I'm considering both accolades and individual stats slash individual play, so it's kind of a mix of everything. So starting off here, we have Josh Allen, and I think I'm gonna throw him in the A tier, just because he's he's probably he's definitely a top three quarterback in football, but the only issue is he hasn't made it over the hump. But then again, and a lot of these other guys haven't made it over the hump. But there's only really one guy I'm going to put in S tier, and I think y'all all know who that is. So we're just going to move on here, and I'm going to do the backups too, but I'm not going to do the rookies because obviously you can't really rank rookies because they haven't even taken a snap of football. Right here I believe this is Tyson Bagent, and Tyson Bagent I'm going to put in the E tier, and I think he won a few games, maybe two games with the Bears, and I just think he's low upside. He's not gonna do a whole lot. So we're gonna put him in the E tier, and this I believe is Jacoby Brissett. I'm gonna put him in the D tier because I would consider him a proven backup, and I think that you could throw him on a roster. Like I'm happy that the Patriots have him on the roster, and I actually think he should start this year over Drake May, just because I think that sitting behind a quarterback is always going to be the best way to like develop, I guess. But he can win you games. He might take you to the playoffs as like a 7 seed, but he's not gonna win you any playoff games. But he's there if you need him. If your QB goes down a little bit. And speaking of QBs going down, I'm gonna put Jake Browning in D tier for the exact same reason. I think that he is a little bit worse than Brissett, but at the same time, his upside is a little lower as well. And but he still won games for the Bengals. So yeah, I can't ever put someone in E who didn't win like a handful. I mean, Tyson Badgett won some games, but he didn't win too many. So moving on here, we have Joe Burrow, and he goes in the A tier. I think he's above Josh Allen. I'm gonna try to do these as I see them, like in order. So like obviously, I think Joe Burrow is better than Josh Allen, and a lot of people are concerned about Joe Burrow's injury, like injury history, I guess. But my thing with Joe Burrow is he is the purest passer in the NFL, the way I see it, and he's gotten to a Super Bowl. He made a conference championship game the year right after that. So I can't really put him below Josh Allen. I do think Josh Allen. I mean, he's played in the league for longer, and I guess you could say, a little bit more proven. But at the same time, I feel like Joe Burrow is going to go farther in the NFL once the Mahomes curse is broken. So next we have Derek Carr, and I'm kind of torn between B and C tier, but I think I'm gonna go with C tier because listen, Derek Carr, I think as of right now, he has very little playoff success. I don't even think he's won a playoff game, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he's won a playoff game. He has put up very mediocre records. His stats are good. He's had good years. Like 2016 was a great year. I think 2021 was a decent year as well. He even made it to the wild card round before he got eliminated by the Bengals. But he was on New Orleans, and I just think he was the most middest of mid. And he also has a bit of an injury problem, or at least he did this year. I swear, I was literally watching. I'd watch Red Zone. I wouldn't, because I'm not really a Saints fan. I wouldn't really watch the games by themselves, but I would turn the TV on, and I swear half the time he wasn't even freaking playing. It was just Jameis Winston, because the guy would go down with a concussion every 2 games or so. So a little bit of an injury history there. He's not really like, he doesn't have the accolades. I think he's mid in terms of his stats, but he's not his actual level of play isn't terrible, but it's not something I'd expect. And speaking of consistency and good level of play, I'm gonna put Kirk Cousins in B because I think he has a bit of an issue with not winning playoff games, but at the same time, he is probably one of the best regular season quarterbacks currently in the NFL right now. Granted, that hasn't always been his history, but that's where I see him right now. And I think that he's going to be pretty good on the Falcons. I just hope that Raheem Morris is a competent coach, and there's not a lot of issues on that side of the ball. So Yeah, that's Kirk Cousins. Next up, we have Daniel Jones. And Daniel Jones, as much as it pains me to say as a Giants fan, I think I'm going to have to put him in D tier. I would probably put him. Damn, this kind of hurts. I'm going to have to put him probably. Right. Actually, no. I'm going to put him up here just because of last year. Not last year, but 2022. I think he's not the guy in New York, but he could be good. But he just isn't that good. He's not. He'll never surpass 11 wins in his career. I just don't think it'll ever happen. He went 9-7-1. That was his best year, and even then, that was a very mediocre statistical year for him. And I just think he's not that good. And I don't think, as a fan, after seeing 20, well, not seeing, but after seeing how Eli Manning was there for damn near 20 years, I can look at Daniel Jones and I could just be like, he's not the guy. He's not the guy at all. And Andy Dalton, I think, is actually kind of underrated right now. I think Andy Dalton, I mean, he was pretty mid in New Orleans 2 years ago, and I believe he played 2 or 3 games in Carolina this year. He's not ever going to be a starter probably ever again, but he's a bridge quarterback. He's like a better Sam Darnold who we have down here. We'll rank soon. Andy Dalton is basically a better Jacoby Brissett in my opinion. So that's all I have to say about him. Sam Darnold, I'm actually going to put him in the C tier, and I know that he isn't really like he's basically on the same skill level as these guys in terms of play, but at the same time, I also feel like he's had the worst situation out of any of these guys. I think that Sam Darnold was done dirty. I don't think he's that bad. He's worse than Derek Carr. I'm not gonna pretend like Derek Carr is worse than Sam Darnold, but sorry, let me get myself together here. I think that Sam Darnold he's mediocre, and I don't think he's ever going to be like a Super Bowl champion leading quarterback, but I feel like he could be good. Maybe he'll find something good in Minnesota. Maybe he'll be there for JJ McCarthy this year, and I feel like he'll probably jump ship after this year. But he's okay. I think he's a little underrated, and I think, he showed flashes in San Francisco. I know that's a very good offense, and I know that there's going to be a lot of system QB talk, but I'm very heavily against that. So, yeah, he's okay. Next, we have Tommy DeVito, and again, as much as it pains me, I'm going to have to put him in E tier. The thing about Tommy DeVito is I think the wins, the wins don't necessarily represent his skill as a player. Because, yes, he went on that slight insanity run, and yeah, sure, he set the Giants back another 3 years, but the thing about Tommy DeVito is you look at the box score, you look at the stats, and you would think, oh, wow, he's been winning games, right? He actually is a viable backup. But then you look at his stats, and they are the most, like, just, he's kind of like a budget Daniel Jones. He has some good stats on the ground. He is a pretty inefficient passer, but he has a good ball. He can get the ball in receivers' hands, but he's not good at all. Like, look at his stats. I'm not even going to pull them up right now. I might just put them on screen. I might not, but he's not good. I don't know. He's kind of gross, I guess. I don't know. Next up, we have Justin Fields, and Justin Fields, I'm going to again throw in C tier, but I'm going to put him above Sam Darnold. He is, I think he's very overrated. I think he has a very passionate fan base, and I think that he's not as good as people want him to be. I think he could be good, but he's not ever going to be like that guy. He could be good in Pittsburgh, but I don't think he's not going to be that guy. I just don't think so. And next up, we have Joe Flacco. I'm going to put him in the C tier. I'll probably put him right here. But the thing with Joe Flacco is that, yeah, he went on that 5 to 6 game insanity run with the Browns. He took them to the playoffs and then proceeded to get destroyed by C.J. Stroud and the Texans. But this has been his first good year. I think this is his first year over 2,000 passing yards since 2019 with the Broncos. Like that, like he had a good year this year, but I'm not going to pretend like he's been good. He's really been bad, but I can't put him any higher than C tier. But I have to give him his flowers. If they had gone with DTR or PJ on the Browns roster, then I don't think they would have even made the playoffs. So I have to give him credit for that. He can win games, but he's not that good. Jimmy G, I think I'm just going to put him in F tier. And the only reason that I'm going to put him in F tier is because I really don't mess with this guy's game. I just really don't get what, like, I don't know. He's just, you know what? No, that's rude. I'm going to put him in E tier. I just don't think he's a competent NFL player. And I think I don't know how he was so good in San Francisco, but you look at him with Las Vegas and he was fucking ass. Like, holy shit. Like, it pisses me off a little bit, just a little bit. I don't know why it does. It just does. I don't know if it's his personality, if it was his connection with McDaniels back when he was the coach. I don't know what it is. I don't like this guy, and I'm gonna be biased. And even though he's probably a D tier quarterback, I'm gonna put him in E tier, and I wish him all the worst in LA. Next, we got Jared Goff, and I am tempted to put him either A or B, but I'm gonna I'm gonna put him in B just simply because I don't think he's on the level of Allen Burrow, obviously. But at the same time, I think he's better than Kirk, and I think he's getting really underrated. I know he had a few poopy seasons the last few years, but this year and then the year before were pretty good, and he's showing flashes of fitting well in the Lions system, and I think he definitely could take him to the Super Bowl and win the whole thing. So next we have Taylor Heineke, and I think I'm gonna put him like right here. I think he's a D tier quarterback. He's again a career backup. He's not gonna be a guy that you rely on. You know, he's just he can win games. I think he had a good run with the Falcons last year. He won some games, but it's not like this guy is gonna be just ass. He's just not gonna be that good. But next up we have Justin Herbert, and I'm gonna put him in the A tier. But he's definitely if there was an A, I'm not gonna do the B plus A minus thing, but if I did, he'd probably be there. I think that he lacks the accolades, but he's one of the purest fasters of the sorry, excuse me. He's one of the purest passers of the football that I've ever seen, and he handles the ball so well, and he gets it in the receiver's hands. Like he will chuck you the ball. Like I would trust him to frickin' carry my newborn, but like he's good with it, and I just think he needs to prove himself a little bit. I think the Chargers organization was held back by the atrocity that was Brandon Staley, and I hope that with Jim Harbaugh, even though they lost a lot of their roster, that I hope that they can kind of unlock him a little bit because I think his career is being a little wasted, and it's sad to see. Sam Howell, I think this is going to be a hot take, but I think I'm gonna put him just in the very top of C. I think he's miles better than Derek Carr, Joe Flacco, Justin Fields, Sam Darnold, but he just obviously he didn't put up a good record. But at the same time, you look at his stats, and he was really quick with the ball because he kind of had to be because that O line was dog shit. But I just think that he wasn't given a fair chance, and he was shipped off after one season. I think it's a little ridiculous. I get that there were generational prospects on the board for like for this year's draft, but at the same time, you gave up on him way too fast. It's ridiculous. And Tyler Huntley, I'm gonna put in the F tier because I've never seen him do anything significant. I don't know what his deal is. I don't know what he does. I don't even know who he's playing for. I think he's playing for the Browns right now, but he played in 2022 briefly, and that's all I know. I don't know anything about this guy, and I don't think he's good at all. So Jalen Hurts, I'm gonna put probably right around here. I obviously I should hate Jalen Hurts because I'm a Giants fan, and I think that I hate the Eagles, I hate the fans, but at the same time I have to give Jalen Hurts his flowers. He had that one run, but I can't really rank him high because to be honest, his first few years, besides that one year, have been pretty mediocre if you really think about it. But I get it. He's developing, and I think he's a great player. He could easily be an A tier, but not right now. And speaking of A tier, we're going to put Lamar in A tier as well. I'm going to put him above Herbert, but I'm going to put him below Allen and Burrow. I think that, again, he has a bit of a playoff problem. He's won more games than Herbert, but at the same time, he just isn't very proven in the playoffs. And I think his stats are a little overrated. I do think his 2019 season was MVP worthy, but this year definitely not. It should have gone to either Christian McCaffrey, Josh Allen, or Dak. I would have honestly just said Christian McCaffrey. But yeah, no. Overrated, but I have to give him his flowers. Trevor Lawrence, I'm putting in the bottom of B tier. I think it's been a few years now, and we really haven't seen Trevor Lawrence in the way we should have yet. I don't know where Trevor Lawrence has been. I don't know where he's going. I don't know, like, where's the playoff win? Where's the run? Where's that? Like he's clock's kind of ticking for him considering he's the highest paid QB in the league. He just needs to prove something, and I don't know what he's doing. He didn't even make the freaking playoffs last year. I don't know what happened, but he got injured. I get it, but he's a little overrated, and he's not as good as people say he is anyways. Will Levis, I'm going to put in probably up here in C tier. I think that he didn't play the whole year, but He's good. I think he's got a freaking rocket for an arm. He's also got another rocket, but he needs to prove it. He's only played half a year. He needs to prove that he's good. He needs to prove he's a starter. I'm trying to go through these a little faster. I realize that I'm kind of dragging this out, but if my explanations aren't good, you could just look at the standings and you can kind of just see where I'm at. Drew Lock, I'm gonna put in E tier. Actually, no, I'm gonna put him in D tier just because of his situation he was put in, and he did win that game against Philly, like a beaten down Philly, but still Philly. I'll put him like right here. I think he's probably the close to being E tier, but I don't think he's that bad. He's good. He's okay. He's not gonna win you a bunch of games, but I see he's a backup in New York, so we're gonna see how that goes. He probably is gonna get some playing time this year. Jordan Love, I'm going to put in. I'm gonna put him right here in B tier. I think just based off this 1 year, he needs to prove more. Like, yeah, he went. What was it? Let me see, 9-8 or 10-7. I don't really remember off the top of my head, but he had one of those records. He started off the year very poorly, but it looked like he molded very well into the NFL. So I like to see that, and I think that he's like one of those players where it's like, oh yeah, I could put him in A tier because he played freaking out of his mind. He also won a playoff game and almost beat the Niners, but he's also only played 1 year, so it's like you can't rate him that high. But he's okay. I like him. He's good. Mac Jones, I'm gonna put him in the top of D tier. I think Mac Jones was done a little dirty. I don't think he's good, but he clearly can be. He played out of his mind his rookie year, and I'm surprised he didn't even win Rookie of the Year. But he can play good. I think he's gonna have a good time. Even though I do think T-Law is a little overrated. I think sitting behind T-Law and learning and kind of seeing a higher level of play, because Trevor Lawrence has always been better than Mac Jones, but I think that's going to be good for him. But right now, he crapped the bed of the last 2 years, and he's not very good at the moment. But he did have a good year, so I can't put him in E tier. Mahomes, I'm going to put in S tier, and that's just, it's Mahomes. I'm not going to further elaborate. I'm not going to globber his meat either. I don't really like the guy that much. I think his brother's annoying, and I think that, the Taylor Swift stuff's annoying, but it's not, Taylor Swift stuff isn't really his fault. Marcus Mariota, I'm putting in F tier, and the reason is just because of what he did in 2022. For anyone who doesn't know, watch Quarterback, the documentary on Netflix. What he did to the Falcons, for really a terrible reason. I'm never going to ever trust Marcus Mariota again. The fact that he's still in the NFL is crazy to me. It's ridiculous. I think it's a joke. Baker Mayfield, we're going to put in. I want to put him in. He's definitely a B tier quarterback for sure, but I don't know where to put him. I'm going to adjust this a little bit. I'm going to put T-Law above Kirk, but I'm going to put Baker below Kirk. Baker, he's another quarterback who hasn't played very well, but he had a good year this year. So I think the situations he's been in have been pretty bad. So I'm going to cut him some slack, and I'm probably never going to move him out of B tier, but he just needs to, I don't know, he just needs to have another good year, and I'll probably bump him up to the top of B because he played out of his mind this year. He was pretty good for what he was in, and he's not terrible. He's good. And speaking of good but not terrible, Gardner Minshew, I don't know. I don't think he's I'll put him in B tier as well. If you really think about it, he's a slightly worse Baker Mayfield in terms of statistical seasons. And when you really look at that, like, he played in a terrible Jacksonville team for like 2 years. I'm trying to think. He played with the Eagles as a backup. He really hasn't had much time as a starter, and then when he became a starter in Indianapolis, a team that I think is pretty mediocre out like specifically for his weapons, and I think the O-line's good, but like he had Michael Pittman, and I don't know who else. And Jonathan Taylor was out most of the year too, or not most of the year, but he was out for a little bit, and he had to kind of work with that. So it's like he didn't have the best team around him, and he still balled out, and he had a over 500 record. So I have to give him his flowers. He's never really been that good though, so I can't really say, oh, he's up here with these guys. I think besides Baker, I would say all these guys are above his level, but he's fringing between C and B, but he's okay. Now Kyler Murray, again, I'm going to put him in B tier, and I'm actually going to put him below Gardner Minshew because yes, he is supposed to have very high upside, but he just hasn't shown it much, and I get that the Cardinals organization is very dysfunctional, but it's the same thing with what's his face, T-Law. You got to prove it, man. He's been in the NFL and he hasn't proven anything really. He had a good year in 2021, and then he got promptly eliminated in the first round. So how much credit can you really give the guy, you know? So I just don't think he's not that good. Well, you know what? That's a lie. I'm sorry. I'm kind of mumbling a little bit, but I think he's good, but he needs to prove more. Like he's supposed to be this dual threat, you know, jumpy quarterback, but he's not putting up good stats. He's definitely not a good team leader, and he just really isn't proving anything to put him on the level of these guys who have accomplished things. And also, he's never won a playoff game, which I don't expect from the Cardinals, so I'm not that disappointed. Aiden O'Connell, I'm going to put him. Oh man, I'm being a little loose with my categories. I'm gonna put him in the bottom of C tier. Actually, I'm gonna put him a little above Sam Darnold. Actually, I'm gonna put him right here, above Justin Fields, above Sam Darnold. But he's low upside. He's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna really evolve into like this star player. I think he's always gonna be like a solid option. He'll probably be like a Gardner Minshew. He'll end up being a career backup who everybody screams at the head of the starter to bench them and then start this guy, you know? That's how it is with Gardner Minshew, with like Minshew Mania and all that. I think it's going to be the same with him. I think after this year, I think it's going to be a battle between these two, and I think Gardner Minshew is the better quarterback, so I think he'll start and he'll kind of be a career backup, but I think he'll have some good starts. I like the guy. He's very likable. And next we have Kenny Pickett. And I kind of want to put him in D tier. I'm going to put him right below Mac Jones. I think it's for the same reason as Mac Jones. He didn't have a good rookie year, so I have to put him below Mac Jones. But I'll put Daniel Jones right there. He's just not that good. Like, I don't, like, he's not even a guy. I'd be like, yeah, sit behind Jalen Hurts. But it's like, I just don't think Kenny Pickett will ever be good. So it sucks to say. But now, Dak Prescott, I know people like to say he plays elite ball, and I actually like the Cowboys despite liking their division rival. I like the Cowboys, and I like that team, and I like Dak. But I'm going to put him in the very top of B tier, and I don't think he's an A tier quarterback. And the reason for that is just playoff success. That's it. And you can knock a lot of these other guys. Like, you can knock Herbert for the same reason, but at the same time, Herbert is the Herbinator. He's a freaking machine. Dak has been in the league since 2016. There's a difference. It's a 4-year difference as well. So I can't in good faith put Dak in A tier. He's won 2 playoff games in his career, and he's been in the league for, I think this is year 9, I believe, if I'm doing the math right. But it's just, I think he's really good in the regular season, but if you look at his stats, I've rewatched some of the games. He pads his stats up a lot. He has a lot of fourth quarter blowups because he's not the kind of QB who's going to like sit out a fourth quarter if they're blowing a team out. Like, I remember they played the Rams. They were up like 30 points, and he wasn't sitting out. And it was like, okay, well, you know, he's going to just drop more numbers on him, but it's not really a skill thing because you're already blowing out the other team. So it's like he's a bit of a stat patter. I love the guy, though. He's a great guy. I hope he does well in the NFL. Get out of Dallas, man. Get out of Dallas. Anyways. Got to go somewhere else, buddy. They ain't treating you right. And Brock Purdy, I think I'm going to get some crap for this, but I think he is the 3rd best quarterback in the NFL. Actually, where do I rank? Where do I put this guy? Because I don't know. I'm very tossed up. You know, just for the hot take, I'm going to say that Brock Purdy is top 5 QB in the NFL. You could really switch him and Allen. I don't even care, honestly, but I'm going to put him above Allen just for the sake of it. I think that Brock Purdy is, oh my God, he's a winner. I mean, granted, I get like the team he has around him. We all know that, but at the same time, it's like everybody said after the end of 2022, they were like, oh yeah, Brock Purdy's not going to be good. We have tape on him now, but they had the tape, and he balled the hell out. He's had one bad game in his career, one bad game, and that was against the Ravens on Christmas. That was the one bad game he's ever had. Don't try to tell me that he's not elite. He is freaking elite. I'm not even a 49ers fan, but it kind of sickens me a little bit that people talk about him the way they do. It's ridiculous, really. It's ridiculous. They act like he's trash. The dude can go out there. He can win. He's not a stat patter like Dak is. Respect to you, Dak, but he's not a stat patter like Dak is. He just puts up numbers. He put up numbers this year, and he's going to do the same damn thing next year. I can guarantee you guys he's going to do it. And even if he doesn't make it back to the Super Bowl, he's still going to make it to the divisional round at least. Hell, he's probably going to make the conference championship round. So yeah, I want to tell that to the haters. I think that he's a top 5 QB, top 3 actually. But Russell Wilson, I'm gonna put him in. I'm putting too many guys in B tier, I feel like, but I'm gonna put him above Kyler, below Gardner. I think right now I mean, obviously he's got the historic, like he's historically really good. He's been elite in his history, but he put up a good season this year. I can't take that from him. Actually, I'll put him above Gardner. He's put up a good season this year. The Broncos are just shit, and I can't really like knock it all on the Broncos because I mean he did make some pretty boneheaded plays throughout the season. He's kind of known for that now, but I don't know. I gotta zoom through this a little bit. Anthony Richardson, I'm literally gonna put in E tier, and we're gonna make another tier. Actually, no, we're not gonna make another tier. I'm just gonna throw him in here just because he literally played 4 games. I'm not even like that's not fair of me to put most of these guys. I hate Jimmy G, and these 2 guys are pretty ass, and these 2 guys are buns. So I can't put them above any of these guys. You know what I mean? So next we have Desmond Ridder. He's going right in the F tier. I don't know what's with the Atlanta and shitty quarterbacks, but they love him for some reason. But Kirk's there now, so hopefully that changes. But Desmond Ridder is ass, and I will not be told otherwise. One of my friends loves Desmond Ridder, and he's a huge Desmond Ridder supporter. But we're not gonna talk about that. He's gonna hate me for that. But I just don't think he's fucking good. Actually, I'll put him up here, but put him like that. There we go. Next we have Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, I think, is gonna go kind of around here. He didn't play a snap last year, but I do think that I'll put him right. Yeah, I'll put him above Kirk. I think he is going to be really good this year. He's had a whole year off of football. He's either going to be really good or really ass, and I think it's not going to be any in between. Next, we have Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph, I think, is a D-tier quarterback. Again, he's kind of on the level of like an Andy Dalton, Jacoby Brissett, a guy you can throw in. He's gonna be all right. He can win you some games, but don't expect him to take you very far. But I will say he was by far the best quarterback in that room last year. Between Kenny Pickett, Mitch, and him, he was the best by far. Next, we have Geno Smith. And Geno, I'm going to throw... I need to start strictening my criteria a little bit. I'm going to put him in the top of C tier, and I'm also going to throw Kyler down here as well. I just... he had one good year. It was a 9-8 year. We can't pretend like he's always been good. He just needs to prove more. I think he had another 9-8 year last year as well. He needs to just prove it. He needs to get some more wins. He needs to not be benched for Sam Howell in that QB room. So I'm a little low on him at the moment, but I think he can kind of be up in B tier, but he's never going to be an A tier quarterback or an S tier quarterback, not even close. And we got we got Matt Stafford. I think he's elite, but I think he's around this level. I'm gonna put these 3 guys in the same tier. He's kind of on the same tier as he's a Super Bowl winner. For him, he's a Super Bowl winner, but he was on a stacked team, so he's played amazing his whole career. There's nothing I could say. He really isn't an extravagant extra quarterback. He's just good. I don't really know what to say about that. And CJ Stroud, I'm gonna put him as a slightly better Jordan Love. I think he's better than Jordan Love, and I think he's better than Goff. I don't know. I'll put Dak. I'll keep Dak right there, and I'll put CJ Stroud right there. People would put him in A tier, but again, he's literally like Jordan Love. I think they both literally have the same right. They had the same record. CJ put up a better season, I think. I don't even know if that's true, but he needs to he needs to just prove more. And I don't get people who will put a player on A tier after one season. I just don't get that. It just doesn't make sense to me. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense why they do that. Next, we have Tyrod Taylor, and I think these are all rookies, so I'm not ranking these. I don't even think this is Tua's brother, but you got Tyrod Taylor right here. I'm gonna probably put him. I'm also gonna lighten this tier up a little bit. We're gonna put Drew Lock in E, and we'll put Anthony Richardson in E just because he's unproven. Don't think he's not bad. He's not bad. He's just unproven. Tyrod Taylor, I think, is kind of around here. This level of, I'm pretty good. I'm not that good. I'm not I'm kind of mediocre, that kind of tier. But yeah, no. He's all right. We got Tua. I think Tua is incredibly overrated, but I'm going to put him probably right here. Put him right there. He's unproven in the playoffs. He has the Herbert problem, but he's worse than Herbert. I don't have much to say about that. We got I skipped Kyle Trask, I think. He's going to go in F tier because I haven't even seen the dude play at all. I think that's Kyle Trask. Correct me if I'm wrong. Same with Carson Wentz. I'm going to put him down here because he's just ass and he's always been ass. I've never liked Carson Wentz. I've never thought he was good. We got Jameis Winston. I'm going to put in famous Jameis. We're going to put you kind of right here. Again, viable backup. Bryce Young, I think C tier is just right for him because he was never given a fair chance, but at the same time, he also was kind of ass. But his team was ass, so I'm not going to pretend like he's good at all. And Deshaun Watson, I'm going to make another tier for him, and I'm just gonna put you in jail. You're not going on a tier list, but I have to include you. Zach Wilson, F. Bailey Zappi, E. Actually, I don't know. If I'm putting Mac Jones, he's younger and he isn't as proven. So this is my tier list. I might make a few adjustments, but overall, I think this is the tier list that we're rocking with here. You can kind of just rock with the opinions. My commentary isn't the best, but just look at the tier list for what it is. You know, I think I did a good job here. I think I did a good job with some hot takes, some bad takes, whatever. I think I did a good job. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'm probably going to make another tier list because that was kind of fun. I like doing that.